Here I can go to energy shine, and this is the so-called circus mode. Here, when I accelerate, you see effects. When I decelerate, nothing happens. And yeah, this is the, hey, I invite my friends over to see my cars for the very first time, driving through a tunnel or driving through a night, and everyone's having a party while I'm being not distracted by my friends, nor the ambient lighting. I'm not drunk, and I'm driving. Everyone else can get drunk, you know. So yeah. A full driving review of the Mercedes EQS in winter conditions here. What about efficiency, range, and also charging? Test here today with Thomas on Autogefuehl. It's one of the most expensive EVs out there, but is it also one of the best? Let's find out. Let's go. In the front you can see here this closed grille with a small star pattern. That's actually quite interesting. The light strip goes all the way through. Here LED is standard. The digital light is optional. Then you can also really use individual pixels. The color for today is, depending on the market, called Twilight Blue or Sodalith Blue. Well, why Twilight? Because it couldn't decide if it's blue or not. Yeah, the nautical blue is, you know, more bluish tone, would more come close to a Thomas blue here. The length here at 5 meters 22 or 205 inches, and it has this really unique design. You have to say that really, here with this one bow design right here that goes all the way through. However, are you team ugly or are you team beautiful? I'm on team ugly here today. Vote in the comments if you like the design or not. Tell me in the comments what do you think. I would be really interested, because most of the comments I've read so far say that people say, nah, that's not really good design. Tell me in the comments. Wheels from 19 inch, at least in Germany, up to 22 inch maximum, also especially with the AMG version, but here 21 inch wheels today with this like dual design, I would call it that way. In the US it's mostly 20 or 21 inch, by the way. EQS logo right here. Today chrome frames around the windows. It is a very clean design, and the main goal was aerodynamics indeed. So it's more like form follows function. Rear is very interesting. You have that rear axle steering. 4.5 degrees in the opposite direction with the rear wheels, or optional 10 degrees. It's a software thing. It is actually in the vehicle already, but just with software you basically unleash it. I don't like this trend. Do you? Oh, and there's no frunk to be opened. That's not possible. The HEPA filter, the optional one, is stored underneath that. The only thing you can open here is this wiper fluid fill-in right here. Here in the rear, that clean design is actually quite cool, I think. Especially here, the light signature in the rear and the small rear lip right there. You have different power output versions. You start with a 350, for example, on the German market. The small battery and rear-wheel drive. Here the 450 plus. Plus stands for the big battery, but still rear-wheel drive. The 580 would be all-wheel drive. One electric motor in the front, one in the rear. One in the front, one in the rear, that way. And then the EQS 53 AMG. That is basically the same with a little bit more horsepower tune in the all-wheel drive. Here, acceleration figure with this one here, around 6 seconds. Battery 108 kilowatt hours net, the big one, or the smaller one 90 kilowatt hours net. It's not too big of a difference, right? You save around like 8,000 euros then for the smaller version. In the US market, the small battery will probably not be available. However, I think most of the time you will end up with the biggest battery because you just want the highest range, especially also in winter time. Recharging 11 kilowatt AC, optional 22 kilowatt AC, and here maximum of 200 kilowatt DC. But what about the concise charging test? Theoretically around 30 minutes from 10% to 80%. We also have here the charging curve for you. Yeah, that's very interesting because the peak is actually right there but doesn't fall that fast. But the question is, here now also in winter time, is it really the case? We'll make the exact test right now. And now we start fast charging, 10%. Yeah, it says Porsche Engineering, this one here. 10% state of charge. Let's see how fast it goes. So charging power goes up. They have a 400 volt strategy, by the way, here. So it should go to around 400 volt. And let's see here, 200 kilowatt would be the peak power. And let's see, We stop here at about 173. Maybe a little bit more. Now from the inside you can also see that, yeah, around 170 kilowatt, and the total charging time to 100% would be about an hour. But that's not the relevant one, rather to 80%, because the last 20% takes so much more time. And very important, what I did is precondition the battery by driving Motorway, and I also set this charging station in the GPS system. Then the car knows actually I want to approach that one. So if you would not do that, then the battery would not have the right temperature, and it could be that we do not reach this high charging power. So we went a little higher to now 180, yeah, 183 kilowatt, and so after 10 minutes we went from 10 to 36%. So that's already good. And the cool thing is really, you can see here, yes, we did not reach the peak 200 kilowatt, but here the 170 or 180 kilowatt are being held all the time here so far. That's the crucial thing. We're still at 150 kilowatt, so now it's slowly dropping from that top speed we had, but so far still a very good result. And you have to take in mind, this is here a very big battery, 108 kilowatt hours net. So that means like the smaller EVs with these now like 70 to 80 kilowatt hour batteries, they would already be kind of full now. So because here we have already delivered now 63 kilowatt hours in 20 minutes. And even here at this relatively high state, power is still over 100 kilowatt, very impressive. So here, just over 30 minutes, and 80 kilowatt hours in just over 30 minutes. That is really impressive. And yeah, there we are. And we've reached 80%, 31, yeah, almost 32 minutes. The key here, actually cool quality, like that, but I'm at war with the door handles. So you can press here in this, stamped area to close it. That's quite easy, but then to open it, I feel that sometimes it's working, sometimes it's not. You should press, yeah, this time it works, but often you press like 5-6 times and nothing happens. But you can also open and close it here with the key, that's also possible. Door closing sound, frameless doors. Yeah, that's the soft close. One more time, here, soft close. Yeah, here now you work against that electric motor, that's the thing. Now, and soft close, ta-da. But what is, when you slam it, that sounds very weird then. Inside of the doors, really cool here, soft touch, and also with the ambient lighting you can always see here. However, cost savings, to me, these are cost savings. This is one button here. See here? There's one whole button for cool seats, heated seats, and the memory function. And this is here also, it doesn't give you haptic feedback like it used to be. So it looks like it, gives you some feedback, but it doesn't. So you like controlling it in thin air, and I'm not sure what to think about it. What I know what to think about is the Burmester sound system. It's awesome indeed, and also nice wooden style interior here. Then the bright interior looks so amazing. Color-wise, this is great. In Germany you can also get Artico leather red here in the beige color, or also in black. However, in the US or in the UK, no animal-free interior available? Why? Why are they doing this? And here, by the way, the animal skin interior, do you see this? Talking about quality, that already looks, really like 100,000 kilometers used or something like this. And, I love bright interiors, but bright floor mats are not a good idea. And my shoes weren't that dirty, but it's just, especially for winter time, not a good idea. Seating wise, I would tend just to go for the base seats, because these, more luxurious seats here you can pick as an option are really too plush. You feel like the seat is like blowing you away from the seating position, something like that. That's the closest thing I can describe it. You can't really feel one with the seat. So this is supposed to be the electric S-Class, and I don't feel that well with the seating ergonomics here. It's recently a thing with Mercedes. I think they should work on that. They do work on the materials there. Recently seen the EQS concept car, but however, the German market gets Artico animal-free leather red and also microfiber in the AMG line, but the US and the UK market not. The flagship model of sustainable luxury should do better. Then, headroom-wise, gets very close here with 1.86 m or 6'1". This is also the one in here with panoramic roof, which is quite amazing actually. Let's open it. By the way, when it's really hot in summertime, then you can also close it. The rear one also has a shade if you like. Okay guys, before I take a seat, just take a look at this shot, how amazing design-wise this interior looks. Well, and now I'm disturbing the image. Screen-wise, screens, 12.3, then either 12.8 S-Klasse like in the middle, more vertical, or optional Hyperscreen for more than 6,000 euros or dollars, like here, 17.7 inch. And then you also get third screen, 12.3 inch as a passenger screen. This one here, the Hyperscreen, looks more amazing. The base version will be a little bit easier to control. Here you can see also this kind of like, you know, curved design. Hey Mercedes.
How can I help?
What do you think about BMW?
Close acquaintance. Mercedes even manufactured series car bodies for BMW in the 1930s.
Really? Interesting. Wait a minute. In the 1930s? Thin ice, Mercedes. Well, and then here, GPS looks amazing, of course, and especially here in the Hyperscreen, it looks amazing. Again, yeah, they claim like a zero-layer technology, but sometimes you do have to go quite deep in the menu, I think. And this is like this app view. Here in the Mercedes EQ, you can see the stated charge of the battery. Interesting is definitely the settings and the comfort menu. In the settings menu, for example, you can hear change the language and so on. Vehicle, you can activate different sound experiences. I'll test that one when we're driving, how loud they are actually. Here, dynamic select, you have the driving modes, but you can also activate it with a hotkey in the middle console like this, sport mode, comfort mode, and so on and so on. The visualizations are indeed pretty cool. And comfort-wise, you have a very nice seat massage that really goes, especially the wave massage is great because it goes then, from the top part even to lower to your booty and so on. Yes, intensive. I'll test that one later on as well. And if you don't care about all this and just want to go with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, then you go with that one. And the sound system, as I said earlier, is awesome. And yeah, this is also one of the most classics of all time, of course, trends-wise. Yeah, great sound. Here you can see this nice augmented reality function in the GPS screen. So you can see the camera image and then there is this arrow. It's a little bit laggy at the moment though, so most of the time I've also seen it in real time, but yeah, that's why we do these tests, so this can obviously also happen. The steering wheel trusts on #capacitivebs for volume sliders and so on, and here you can also control the right screen with that one, and on the left side the same thing, but just done for cruise control, but it is definitely harder than with the older steering wheels where you have the real buttons. I'm really not sure who thought of this instrument design here, because you see that leaning angle? They should be more upright like this. You can see them better. Here, these are, by the way, the IR lights. You can only see them on camera. It's just too flat, and you can see the reflections also, and they are also visible with your own eye. You can go full screen map, for example. It's not flickering in real life, just on camera, by the way, here at the moment. But also here, for example, for sportier gauges. But that doesn't, deny the fact that the integration of the instruments should have been more visible to the driver. The head-up display is really large and very good to see, and also has some augmented reality function. And there it is. You can see here also augmented reality arrows in the head-up display, here signaling me then to turn right here at this intersection. When ambient lighting wise, this is so cool. I think I love it. And we'll drive it in a tunnel very soon and also have the active ambient lighting then. Wait for that. Interesting area here also, there is usually piano lacquer here. That's of course then collecting fingerprints and so on. Here the matte wood option is really cool, I would go for that one. When you open that one you have two USB-C chargers, you can put your phone here in there. No, it's not a piece of bread, it's a cork case. Inductive charger there, cup holders. And here then you have start-stop button. You can pick the driving modes here, for example. And then you have the typical split opening here with more space and two USB-C chargers. That looks just so nice, right? With the panoramic roof and this entry area and the bright seats. Really inviting indeed. Such a bad conscience that I now ruin again the floor mats, because I already did a shoe tab and there's nothing you know, loose underneath my shoes, but yeah, the wide floor mat's not a good idea. And also in general, the rear here is not a good idea because do you see on camera how cramped I am here? It's like short bench and then it's like, I feel like sitting like, yes, on the toilet, yeah. Headroom wise, with 1m86 or 6'1", it works but gets close. I can put a hand over my head, but it's so uncomfortable here in the rear. Then this part is also so cramped. Well, knee room wise, that's not a problem at all. And also here, no middle tunnel and so on. You can sit here also with 3 tall adults, that's no problem, but the seat ergonomics here in the rear are indeed strange, I have to say. This middle part you can also fold down, then you have inductive charging pad and some more storage space right here. Very nice at the inside of the doors here in the rear, by the way. Contour stitches, soft materials, also cool with the backlighting here around, but then again the high gloss piano lacquer stuff. But the matte wood right here, that's actually very fancy. The cool thing here about the EQS is that you have this fastback style hatch, opens very wide, so you basically have something like an estate. See here with 1m86 or 6'1", I can easily stand underneath it. This cover here raises automatically and you can easily access that vast trunk. And this boot here, okay, now I covered US and UK viewers, comprises 610 up to 1,770 liters. This easily fits. The length here, 1m20 or 47 inches. That's actually quite good. And the width is, yeah, also a good meter or 40 inches also here in this area. And the height, let's say right here, for example, around 45 centimeters or 18 inches. And when we fold the seats, you can easily score this 2 meters or 79 inches in length to the front seat. You see it raises a little bit and there is a step. But in general, we again have to say, loading area wise, it's very, very well usable. Acceleration from 50 kilometers an hour, let's go. 130, 150. Yeah, that sound experience low. And top speed soon reaching at... come on. 213 kilometers an hour, 214. So that's around 130 miles per hour. Wind noise is now picking up, of course, but still, I mean, it's quite silent here and really great in control. Air suspension stiffened up now for these higher speeds. Here also, for example, lane change. Yeah, feels really agile. Now hard on the brakes, of course, maximum recuperation as well, but now the rear brakes are also being used. Whoa. And we can indeed also change this sound experience here. That was Vivid Flux. We can also go with Silver Waves, for example. Or with Roaring Pulse. Let's see. But of course, it rather plays a role when you really accelerate it out, then you hear it in a more notable way. And for the next acceleration from 90 kilometers an hour, let's switch to Roaring Pulse. Let's listen to that. Let's go. 150. Wow, feels really great here. Very settled on the motorway. Long bend here. Wow. Yeah, that was already, once again, 200 kilometers an hour or 125 miles an hour. Really good. And well, this Roaring Pulse, you couldn't hear that well, especially probably on microphone because mixed with the wind noises because it's low frequency. Let's test here Silver Waves. Let's see. It's like one like whoosh, so whoosh. But Vivid Flux is definitely the most, audible one, I would say, definitely. However, with the EQS 53 AMG, that was way more audible. Let's just quickly tune into that. Let's listen to that. Yeah, that was something, wasn't it? So most of the time probably you would just leave it completely off, because I also think, you know, it delivers you a sensation of speed in a way, but it gets annoying over time. 100. $150. Here I set it to strong recuperation. Now we have to reduce the speed. Is it a one-pedal driving feeling? Well, the recuperation is strong when you have set here the shifting pedals. Yes. Normal recuperation, no recuperation, normal, strong. So 3 levels basically. But then again, when you're driving a little bit slower, it does not make a full stop. So, is it a true one-pedal driving feeling then? No, not really. But you can at least set strong recuperation. However, it is being resetted when you start the car again. So they rather set on this, you know, rolling effect and also using the brakes. But when I press and hold the shifting pedal, intelligent recuperation gets active. Here, no car in front of me, no recuperation. Then I'm closer to a vehicle. There is recuperation. So that's actually the best recuperation mode. And then you can also come to a standstill when the car is in front of you in traffic jam. Now, when we get to the tunnel, this one here is of course pretty cool. You can really see the ambient lighting, and even cooler is of course lights. Yeah, that's of course very distracting when I do something right here, ambient lighting, and edit settings, why another step? So, and then here I can go to energy shine, and this is the so-called circus mode. Here, when I accelerate, you see effects. When I decelerate, nothing happens. And yeah, this is the, hey, I invite my friends over to see my cars for the very first time, driving through a tunnel or driving through a night, and everyone's having a party while I'm being not distracted by my friends, nor the ambient lighting. I'm not drunk, and I'm driving, everyone else can get drunk, you know? So, yeah, that's the so-called, or we call it circus mode here on Autogefuehl. Well, it is entertaining, but of course distracting. When some even say that a mono ambient lighting would even be already distracting, this one surely is. But I think the ambient lighting is pretty cool. I love, of course, to have it here in Thomas Blue. Yeah, you have different options here available, and of course brightness all the way up. Air suspension is sporty and comfortable at the very same time. Remember, we have the big wheels here, but indeed, because the air suspension is so good, you still have decent comfort. Yeah, Tesla Model 3 here without air suspension, really, really stiff there. The rather, you know, fair competitor to this one here is the Tesla Model S. That one has air suspension and also has then a good suspension comfort. Meanwhile, with Tesla, since they made the you know, the upgrades like 2 years ago, I think, for S and X. So yeah, suspension-wise is really good. And of course here the rear axle steering, when you're at slower speeds, either is 4.5 or 10 degrees rear axle steering. 10 degrees is an option, and that makes this vehicle here, which, you know, it has 5.22 meters in length, so much more agile and faking a shorter wheelbase. So it feels kind of unnatural a little bit, because at lower speeds you really feel like your tail would be like waggling, like shake, shake, shake. But it definitely helps in parking in and out. And this 10 degrees option even more reduces the turning circle by a meter. So that's of course really impressive for such a big vehicle. Ooh, one more time here, ambient lighting in the tunnel. Malibu sunset is also one of my favorite things. I wouldn't leave it like all the time, but just, you know, getting in the mood, like cocktail beach mood or something. So that's really cool for that. Or burning blue, woo. But definitely my favorite setting is still the ocean blue. Here, once again, not too loud, wind noises, very connected to the road. In the S mode, the air suspension gets a little bit stiffer, really good to control. So superb in the handling, suspension wise, great job. Steering is also fine, there's no big dead zone area or something. And maybe in the very low degree angles, they made it more in a comfort setting that you can cruise straight on the motorway, for example. And then when we get off the throttle, we can also have here the cruise control. and also with the active lane keeping assist. Now the speed is already being reduced, and see how actively we are kept in the lane. Yeah, that's a very smooth process. So the assistance systems here are really top notch. Blind spot monitor is also included. However, if I drive here so fast on the motorway, you will hardly ever see the blind spot monitor being activated, because we are appearing in the blind spot, not everyone else. So we're getting off the motorway now. Yeah, this car is so much fun to drive still. It is huge, it is large, it has a long wheelbase, but due to that rear axle steering and low center of gravity, wow, it's really great in the slalom. And of course, even better than when I drive a little bit slower, because then the rear axle steering is going in the opposite direction. At higher speeds, it's going in a parallel direction. And now I realize that the slower we get, the more active the rear axle steering goes in the opposite direction. Yeah, so hardly ever we could have so much driving fun and agility in a car at that size and at that weight. This is the most remarkable thing about this vehicle here. As for energy consumption, by the way, at top speeds, usually, we also had it here now, it's like double or more than double the usual average consumption, and that would kind of mean you could drive with full speed, some little bit less than 200 kilometers or 125 miles, something like that. Because the normal average consumption we have today is also quite astonishing and rather bad, because we end up some 25 kilowatt hours on 100 kilometers or 40 kilowatt hours on 100 miles. And that would mean we are more in like 430 kilometers of range or 270 miles. Here in wintertime, close to freezing temperatures, 1.5 degrees Celsius. And that's quite astonishing, because in summertime we could score in the EQS something close to 600 kilometers or 400 miles. So the temperature effect seems to be quite heavy on this vehicle. Yeah, that's a thing you're gonna have to live with. And of course, thinking about, say like, I have enough money, I would just want the best electric vehicle with the highest range and so on. Well, it seems that you do not have the greatest advantage here from this 100k plus vehicle, 100k in the base version, 160 or something equipped. And then if you compare this to this like 60,000 euros or dollars EVs like Kia EV6, Ford Mustang Mach-E, Tesla Model Y, well, in the winter times, they don't differ that much in range. That's of course also one of the key findings here today. Very interesting. Here, by the way, now, second traffic light. Once again, you have the traffic light view. Well, in this case, I can see it, but here now green, and now I accelerate out, and here nice rear axle steering, and in the sport mode, it gets a little bit, it doesn't break out in the rear or something, but it gets a little bit loose. You have, of course, a lot of power, and to me, when you have these vehicles which are available with rear-wheel drive, always all-wheel drive. Even if the rear-wheel drive ones have less power and one electric motor less, in efficiency, it doesn't matter so much actually with the electric vehicles. Not like when you go like rear or front wheel drive versus all wheel drive with a combustion engine. However, from the agility, when you have rear wheel drive only, you have just a boost from the rear wheels, and it is more fun to me. Yes, it's less in the acceleration, but we've seen on a motorway, this one here, the 450 is way more than enough. To me, it's the version to go for with the EQS, because the 350 available in Germany, for example, has the smaller battery, so go for the one with the bigger battery, but then with rear-wheel drive to have more fun. And especially when you set it here to the normal driving mode, the electronic stability control will also control that it won't break out in winter or something. All-wheel drive just makes sense when you live like, in the Alps region in Europe, or Minnesota in the US or something, or in Canada, in BC or something like this. Then the all-wheel drive will still make sense, yes, but for most use cases, rear-wheel drive will just be enough, and you can save some money with it. And to me, indeed, you have a little bit more driving fun. As for seating and so on, I told you that in the interior part, I feel that the seat is for some time too plush in a way. They look super comfortable and sophisticated, but I don't feel that they offer so much comfort as they should be. So, especially recently, I'm not really satisfied with the seat ergonomics with Mercedes in general. Maybe just my body type, but I've read it also in the comments that a lot of you guys actually also said, yeah, Thomas, finally someone talks about this. I have the same experience. I'm especially, all of you who are a little bit taller say like, don't really feel comfortable in the Mercedes seats. I rather go than, for Lexus, Audi, BMW. VW Group in general, by the way, is usually building seats which have, a higher average. Whereas Mercedes and also the Asian manufacturers rather go for a lower average in the seat form as for the body height. That's always a problem, with setting the averages. It's also discriminating women most of the time because like a typical male average is usually taken. That's in automotive industry, it's in pharmaceutical stuff. So that's also a big issue, of course. Yeah, and when you're very tall, then you're also discriminated against. Yeah, okay, I'll survive here, but I have to say, this car costs so much and supposed to be so comfortable, but to me, it isn't actually. And when you now compare Mercedes S-Class versus EQS, they apply the same raw chassis foam that kind of builds up during the process then here on the EQS. Still, I felt that the S-Class is a little bit more silent, really at very, very high speeds when we've driven that one. That's also an interesting factor. Driving fun-wise, EQS versus S-Class, clearly the EQS, so much more fun with a low center of gravity. It's really the thing, in all the segments, the electric vehicles are more fun to drive, minus possible sound or something. When you think about that. And now some agile driving fun here with the Silver Waves sound profile. In the sport mode, again, suspension a little bit silver, but the air suspension evens that out very well. More comfort, of course, than with some smaller wheels possible also. And you really don't feel that you would be steering such a long vehicle. Yeah, and with rear-wheel drive, you can very well get out of the corners. You hear something of the sound profile. Now on the brakes, there you feel the weight actually. Yeah, a little bit braking out even. Great fun. Wow. And one more time. This is so great, really. I mean, I'm not deactivating ESC here on public roads or something, but this was already enough. Can have a little spin, yeah. This so much proves my point that the rear-wheel drive version of this one here, of the EQS, is so much more fun than the all-wheel drive version, especially in these conditions here and these situations. Yeah, and then you can just live with a little bit less of acceleration boost when you have more cornering driving fun, definitely. That's at least my take to this. You can also tune into our EQS 580 review with the all-wheel drive. That's a very interesting review as well. And we also show different colors there and so on. And another very expensive EV, of course, at the moment is from BMW, the iX, which also had very good range results. A very interesting review. Tune in there.